Hi, this is Steve Adler. Got a minute? All right, so thanks a lot for tuning back in. We're getting ready for a holiday weekend, and overall, I think the city's doing really well, and I think we should take a moment and be thankful for one another. This only works to the degree that we do this together. The numbers for today. 690 confirmed cases. We had 2 more people that passed away today, and our thoughts and prayers with their families. 128 recovered. Again, this number, the 690, we're going to switch over to hospitalizations as soon as we can to track those, but this is the number that is being used kind of nationally. Our number went up by 7.5%. Over yesterday. 7.5% is kind of what we've been averaging here for the last week or so. You know, that percentage is important because they talk about the rate at which we get new cases or we get hospitalizations, and the faster the rate, the fewer days it is when we double. In other words, you can double from one day to the next and you have a doubling of one day. Or you could go up half again one day and half again the next day, and then you have a doubling every 2 days. You know, when we started this process, Texas and New York, I mean, the United States and New York, we're doubling every couple days, every 3 days. And that's what it started out being in Texas. But Texas has done better. I made a little chart here that's kind of a doubling chart. And you can see that if we go up by 20% a day, that has a doubling every 4 days. We go up 12.5%, we're doubling, 15%, we're doubling every 5 days. 12.5%, we stretch it out and we're doubling every 6 days. This is about where Texas is right now, doubling every 6 days. At 10% increase, you have a doubling every 7.5 days. But what we've been doing is this 7.5% increase, which is here, which means that we double every 9.5 days. That's about where we are right now. A little better than the state's doing, and that's a good number. But if we show discipline, we ought to be able to pull that down, and that just puts us even in a better place. Life goes on while we do this. We had a city council meeting this week. Everybody participated remotely. We had one of those Zoom-like screens where you could see all the council members at the same time. A lot of people meeting all over the city. A lot of people doing family gatherings that way. We had here in my home Mexican food that was delivered or carried out. It was really good to get Mexican food again. It's nice that restaurants can actually deliver and serve for carry out margaritas. So it was a little boost in the Adler household this evening. As life goes on, normally I need to remind everybody that the census is happening right now, despite the virus, and everybody needs to get counted in that census. We get more federal dollars, we get more representation, the greater the number of people that participate in that census. Your answers are confidential. It's only a few answers, literally takes seconds to complete it. Please make sure that you're going online to do that, because every 10 years they backfill the people that are don't do it online by visiting them, and obviously we can't have that the same way. So we're going to be more and more dependent. Austin is there are many cities in the country that are doing better than Austin is right now, and they're going to have a competitive advantage. So I really urge everybody to really complete the census. Couple questions. I was going to ask if parks are going to be closed after the Easter weekend. We don't know the answer to that right now. We do know we're going to close them this weekend. Might be a little easier to take because it's anticipated to rain. But the concern is that on an Easter weekend, when the temptation to be with our friends and our family socially outside would just be so great, that this weekend it was better for us to close the parks. We'll talk about what happens next. People are meeting with the county judge and with many others to talk about that this weekend. Question is, what about religious institutions? Are they open for Easter services and other things? And boy, I sure hope that the houses of worship, our faith institutions, are not opening this weekend. Certainly they have the ability to do that, only if they can't do it remotely. And we know that our churches and synagogues and temples are being able to do this right now remotely. I really, again, want to compliment our faith leaders for doing it that way. Keeps their congregations and our city just that much safer. I got asked the question, Dallas had Army Reserve set up hospital beds at the Kay Bailey Hutchison Convention Center to get prepared for the peak. Why aren't we doing the same thing right now at Palmer and the Convention Center? Well, the reason we're not doing it right now is because our community is doing such a good job with the physical distancing that we need to keep up. We've slowed it down so that we have time in order to be able to staff up a facility like that. I don't know that we would do it in those facilities. We have other choices as well, but we don't have to actually implement that now. We have time to do that. But we should be locking down the location here probably within the next few days so that we have that covered. We are doing the planning for the surge if it comes. We hope that it does not, but we're planning in case it does. Also got asked a lot of questions today about the governor's press conference. Governor press conference today where he said next week he was going to issue an executive order that spoke to our state opening up again and going back to the business. And I get asked the question, so what is it that's happening next? So what I would say first off is what happens next is we keep doing what we're doing. And we have to do that. We have to continue to show the discipline. Doing what we're doing right now is buying us time. It's giving us time to learn more. It's giving us time to be able to make sure we have all the supplies that we need. What we're doing right now has and continues to save lives. So most importantly, we have to really double our efforts and make sure that we are doing well the physical distancing. We are not out of the woods. A big cluster could happen, where infection happens, and it could really set us back. So we really do need the discipline to keep this going. That said, we have been and we continue to work on planning for what happens on the backside of this, because there will be a backside to this. We have to plan for the gradual and probably incremental reopening of business in our city. And that planning is going on at the same time that the surge planning is going on. So we continue to consult with public health and infectious diseases, members of the business community, to develop the plans about restarting the economy. But just as with the decision we made to close down South by Southwest, know that our actions here in this city, to the degree that we can make decisions and enact them, are going to be based on a priority of maintaining public health in our city. That is our guide, and it will remain our guide. Part of that means that we have to keep what we're doing to decrease the number of virus cases and infections in our city. It means that we have to provide the time to get more adequate supply of testing in our city. We have to get more of the personal protection equipment in our city. We have to make sure that we stock up on the resources, the supplies, the ventilators that we need in our city. We need everyone in the city getting more comfortable with covering their faces when they go to the grocery store or into a 7-Eleven in order to protect the clerks. And we have to really make social distancing something that is in our muscle memory because that's probably something that we're going to do for an indefinite period of time. So while it's clear that the situation may continue to improve, it's really important for us to know that the crisis is not over. So all that by way of introduction to say that the governor said that he was going to do an executive order next week. He didn't say when it would start or how it would start or how it would get rolled in. But I think that's an important conversation for us to have and for us to be talking about. My guess is we probably go through some measure of oscillation probably over the next year as we feather in and go into a more and more open kind of economy that would be coupled with continuation of the social distancing and face covering, and certainly enhanced testing in our community. All those things that'll make that possible. I believe that we can find the right balance, something that we can maintain for an extended period of time. But I'll tell you, all of that depends on how well we do what it is that we're doing now. So that said, speaking of state leaders, Lieutenant Governor Patrick had a telephone town hall meeting today. The call was organized by the Texas Republican Party for its supporters and for the media. And I just want to tell him that I'm appreciative of the mention that he gave to us at his town hall meeting. He said, as reported in Statesman, quote, "One of the best things we did was not to have South by Southwest." Governor, I just want you to know I really appreciate that shout out. Another question. A lot of kids are asking me about the Easter Bunny and whether the Easter Bunny will come this weekend. I want you to know that the county judge and I have declared the Easter Bunny to be an essential worker, someone that's allowed to leave their home and to go out and do work. We've reviewed the Easter treat delivery procedure and have determined that we can all be safe. I want you to know that the Easter Bunny has assured mayors around the country that Easter Bunny will be wearing face covering this year, and we are really appreciative of Easter Bunny, who also said that they'll maintain a 6-foot distancing, and with that we should all be fine. You may have noticed or heard about hashtag Light It Blue. We have some buildings that have been lit in blue starting last night. The Long Center was lit blue. Some of the buildings in the city the same way. This is to honor and let the medical staffs around the city know that we are appreciative and thinking of them. It was not designed for us all to get in our car and to head out and look at it. It was intended for them to see as they were headed out to do their work. I want to close tonight. Thanks for being with me by urging you all to stay safe. And I want to give a shout out to one of our local favorite musicians, Shiny Ribs, who made a song that was made for singing around the house because it was about staying around the house. And tonight we're going to sign off to Shiny Ribs. Go to my website. You can have a link to this. It's on YouTube. Shiny Ribs.